Ask Tom on Home Show.
William from Melbourne, North Carolina, has a question about shed insulation.
He's trying to insulate this space here, Tom. That mix of OSB and metal roofing and all that. It's kind of a little bit of an issue there. William writes, it's a 16 by 20 wooden barn style with a metal roof that I'm turning into a home office. He says, I guess it's going to be a he shed.
Okay.
The metal is also exposed to the interior of the shed, and I'm wondering, what are the best insulation options for this type of situation? All the advice so far is leading me to closed cell spray foam. But I'd like to know what other options exist and which you would recommend. And remember, he's in North Carolina.
I remember that, and I'm not sure how he's finishing out the inside, but anytime you have metal, and if you want to use the foam spray, you can. I'm not sure if you're doing that for insulation or just to keep the roof from sweating, but a metal building will sweat, even in North Carolina, during certain times of the year. If it sweats on the outside, like a beer can, it just drips all over, nobody cares. It's on the outside, it goes in the mud, the dirt on the outside of the house. But if it sweats on the inside in parts of the country when you have high humidity and you're got a cold metal and it's hot air up in the attic area, it's going to touch that metal and it's going to drip. And so there is a insulation for metal buildings, which is just about an R8, and it's vinyl coated on both sides. It's very thin, and it goes right up against the metal. That's your koozie metal, as I call it, your foam metal that will keep it from sweating. Now, on the inside, if you're building an office space, if you're just making a 2x4 walls and roof, and you're creating a space just as an indoor office, a little square like they do in metal buildings all the time, then I would just insulate it with open fiberglass on the outside, and that would be fine. If you're converting it all the way up to the ceiling and stuff, and you need that R value in North Carolina, you would when it gets cold. Then if you want to put foam on there, you can. If you want to spray the foam directly to the metal, if you're doing that, and just make a big sandwich of insulation, just don't leave any airspace in there. Just sandwich it up, and you want to get an R38 or an R42 for those cold winters, that's fine also, because you're going to be converting the inside of that to sheetrock in a heated space and maybe even an air-conditioned space a little bit in the summertime. And if you don't use a lot of air conditioning, put some windows in there. Make sure you can get some ventilation so you're able to use it comfortably. But in that case, in North Carolina, I don't have a problem with it if you're taking your conditioned space all the way to the ceiling. If you're making a flat square box in there, just use that thin metal insulation just to keep it from sweating a little bit. And you'll be better off that way, and you'll save some money too.
Would you do that? Would you close it off and have an attic up there, or would you leave it open?
If I was just making a little office in a metal building like that in North Carolina, where I'm really concerned about the cold weather, and it depends in North Carolina if you're on the coast or if you're up in the mountains. I know North Carolina pretty well. I lived in some different areas of it in an earlier part of my life. And it gets god-awful cold up there in those mountains. So if it's really cold and you're worried about the heat, then I wouldn't have a problem making a sandwich out of it. The humidity's not real bad unless you're towards the coast, say Goldsboro or somewhere in there. I was in an Air Force base there for a while. But then it can get in the summertime and get a little bit different. But it depends where you are. They have quite the multi-climates in North Carolina.
He's actually, I just looked it up.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, Melbourne is just northwest of Durham, so he's way off from the coast. He's inland.
Yeah. So, it's going to get cold. It's going to be a high altitude. And I probably would pack that sucker up and put a wood stove in there because the wintertime, if you're going to use it, if you're going to take it all the way up and you're going to have that big vaulted ceiling inside your office, which would be very nice. But in the summertime, you want a lot of air in there too, or if you have air conditioning, people today do. Back when I was there, air conditioning wasn't very popular.
All right. But you know what is popular? The right answer. You get it when you click right there on that Ask Tom button and get this form. You fill it out, send it in. We answer it in a video just like this, except it could be your answer. And you'll find them posted at HomeShowRadio.com and our YouTube channel, the Home Show Radio on YouTube. And help us out, would you please, and subscribe, maybe click the bell so you know we post new ones. And for God's sake, please thumbs up the ones you like.